Work leads to messy insights. If your files are scattered, your names are random, and you can't remember what you changed last week, you are not analyzing, you are simply firefighting. Let's fix that today. Welcome to my cyberspace. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to organize your data like a pro, and let us stop the chaos. Let's get right into it. A lot of times we work on projects, or you've actually had to work on projects that somebody was working on, and you're probably like very confused as to what changes did they make, or you worked on a project and you came back to the project and you don't have a perfect understanding of what you changed. In this video, I'm going to be talking more about one of the ways to properly organize your file, and so that you would not be like a pain on the ass for somebody else, and also you'll not be a pain in the ass for yourself. First of all, the number one point I'm going to mention is that naming is everything. Make sure the name that you are calling your files, what you are calling your data sets, it is something that is descriptive, meaning when somebody is not there, they can totally understand what the data is all about. So if you are making a analysis about sales or marketing, and your file is about marketing, also make sure you name it the same thing. Don't just call it file 1, file 2, file 3. Just this simple step is going to save you a whole lot of stress, not just for yourself but other persons that you are going to be collaborating with. And a lot of times when we are working as data experts, we're probably tired, or there's just so many things that we want to name. I really recommend that you take that extra step, or you make it an habit to always make sure that you give the correct descriptive naming condition to your variables or whatever you are naming. Another thing I'm going to be talking about is keep the family together. What do I mean by keep the family together? If they are related, keep them in the same folder. The file, the data, either is a Power BI file, either is a SQL file, everything that you're working or you're making different reports and they are somewhat related, keep them in the same folder, because it's going to really help you in case you're looking for something. When you found one, it's going to help you to be able to find the others, because some of the issues is when you have things scattered all over the place and you don't have them in the same folder. You probably come back and you find maybe 4 out of 5 and you're looking for just a singular one. So if you are going to be keeping them on a server or whatever it's going to be, or you're going to be storing them, make sure you keep them together. Make sure that they are quite related. Doing this is really going to help you, and not just yourself. You want to be a very good neighbor when it comes to running data analysis. One thing I will say next, which is the third point, is document like a legend. Like, documentation cannot be overemphasized. It's something that we really need to like pay much attention to. Interestingly, when we go to, you go take a program or a boot camp for like data expertise, they might not necessarily emphasize the whole importance of documentation, but it's very important that you learn to document. Documenting is a very skill in itself, where people would need to go out there and you would see awesome documentation such that you would not even need to meet the person who run the analysis or who wrote the report to have a perfect understanding of what they wrote. Make your documentation as though, how would I explain this to like a 5-year-old child? How would I explain this so that somebody else would come and they would understand what I'm making? Because if you're working for an organization, you probably might be there for like the longest time, or you might leave. Let's say you leave after 5 or 10 years and they need to update or make changes to the same report. When you have a great documentation of your data source, the tables that you use, or the reason why you made that report, it's going to be helpful for whoever is going to work on that report to make the changes or like make any deletion or whatever it is. So I think just this very practice is going to really make our work as data experts very useful and also like very replicable. Another point I'm going to mention is respect the original. And what do I mean by this? So respect the original, as in, especially if you are going to be making changes to a report, you want to have a backup file of the main file you're making changes to, because this is going to help you for a lot of ways. In case you want to go back to that report, go back to your original state, or there's just something about the thing in the original file that you need to go back or refer to. You want to respect the original file, like leave the original copy untouched. You can always make a duplicate. If it's a very large file, you can either zip that file. Just make sure you have something whereby you have the original copy. And one way to have an original copy is if you're using like version control, like Git and GitHub. In one of my videos, you could check that out. I listed or explain how to use GitHub for version controlling, and you don't have to, keep the original in a very complicated way. It could just be as simple as just creating a copy of the original, just making a copy. That's all that is needed. And the last one I'm going to mention is simple is greater than complicated. Avoid over engineering. Avoid there's a lot of times, especially for like young data analysts or young data experts, you probably learn something new and you're very excited to want to make this stuff very complicated. You want to make a report or a visualization, but you're like, oh, I want to just show that I could do this, which is very nice. But sometimes you want to focus on usability and reproducibility. You want to think about, if this thing can be done easily, why not just do it easily, like instead of complicating it? So just very 5 steps is going to really help you. I'm going to mention them again. Naming is everything. Keep the family together. Document like a legend. Respect the original, and make sure that simple is the goal. Like, make it simple. If this video was a value for time, do well to like, subscribe, follow, and share. And you can look at my other videos that I spoke about, very other amazing data analysis stuff. Ciao.